And I want to thank you sincerely, of course, to our amazing Hamilton Freedom Group. And today we're calling it the Hamilton Freedom of Assembly. Am I right?
Yeah.
And why is that? Well, it's 2 years to the day, am I correct?
Yeah.
That we, as a Hamilton Freedom Group, Canadian Crusaders, Canadian Patriots for Truth, Freedom, and Health, were harassed, unfortunately at the time, by a small group of cops and Bylaw. And it was unacceptable. It was a psyop. They didn't want our movement to grow. And that's not to generalize, of course, that all the Hamilton cops are bad and evil and captured. And I'm not here, I will never be calling cops Nazis, Stasis, and Gestapo like Arthur Pulowski in Alberta. A very communist sympathizing message. He does it over and over again. But we're just trying to bring truth and transparency that we were fighting for freedom. We were doing the right thing. I've had cops come up to me since and apologized for their egregious actions. And we would like to get to the bottom of it one day, where where this enforcement came from. But let's understand one thing, and I wish I knew more about the Canadian Bill of Rights from day one. But I started discussing it.
Got it.
Well,
and as I keep saying in my speeches, what we've learned, this is very important. Goodbye, Wolfpack. Have a great day. Thank you. Any enforcement, and Anthony can attest to that, any enforcement is regulated by the Criminal Code, which is federal. So the Canadian Bill of Rights applies to all federal matters. Correct, Anthony? And so when you're discussing, especially when you use your Canadian Bill of Rights, and you can use it right on the spot, that's one of the amazing things about this miraculous legislation, still constitutionally active and binding, 99% of the time, I would predict the cops will not override your rights, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble. It's that simple. So get off the charter. Let's use our Canadian Bill of Rights for the most part. And that's how we are going to destroy the establishment. And I'll give you a quick example at City Hall. I keep talking about it. When we were getting harassed at times by cops and Bylaw, and you guys know, when I started to discuss the Canadian Bill of Rights in speeches, for example, the next week, the cops didn't ticket us, only Bylaw. And then the next week, following week, they came out, some Hamilton cops, maybe off-duty cops, I don't know, they were standing right here, getting paid, and they didn't bother us. Maybe Bylaw. Whoop-de-doo. And that is the power of this legislation. Written by John Diefenbaker. Sherilyn's holding his photo right now, 1960. I talked about the second last Hamilton Freedom Worldwide Rally. Thank you. Yeah, put that on, John Diefenbaker. He was a true whitehead. He cared for Canadians in this country. That's why he wrote up that legislation. And as an example, he's got it in the law. Remember, it is hereby recognized and declared in Canada. There have existed and shall continue to exist without discrimination by reason of race, national origin, color, religion, or sex, the following individual human rights, thank you for the thumbs up, and fundamental freedoms. Their charter doesn't even say human rights, everyone, right? It says your rights are guaranteed, which is not absolute, doesn't come from God. It allows the government to dictate your rights. And the Canadian Bill of Rights states the right of the individual to life, liberty, security of the person, enjoyment of property, and the right not to be deprived therefore except by due process of law. And as I said at one of the last Worldwide Freedom Rallies, Section 1B, my favorite, and it's Jane Scarf, the paralegal, her favorite, right, Kim? She says the... Oh, my. Emergency. Excuse me, Section 1B. Are you ready? The right of the individual to be treated equally before the law and protected by the law. And that's why, as I said before, the vaccine passport, we know, that ridiculous, outrageous mandate at the time, it's gone because of us, the resistance in Canada. the vaccine passport, firing frontline workers for not taking the jab, all of it, not allowing Canadians supposedly to fly out of the country. A lot of that was shit. 2 people were flying at times. But all of it violates that Section 1B, the Canadian Bill of Rights. And in the 3rd sentence of the preamble, it says Parliament is to ensure the protection of these rights and freedoms in Canada. Well, did they? They didn't, right? So that's disobeying a statute. Section 126 of the Canadian Criminal Code. They disobeyed a statute, and that's another reason why we can and will hold the likes of Justin Castro, Doug Ford, John Tory, the bureaucratic health officials, and many other corrupt politicians. We will make them held accountable. Hello?
Hello?
Yes. All right, thank you.
Try it again. Try that again. They weren't...
And I want to thank Justin because, and I apologize, Justin, I left partway in his speech when he did it right over here at the last Worldwide Freedom Rally, but I listened to your information at the time, and that was amazing, Justin. Thank you.
Thank you. Much appreciated, brother.
And that's why we're winning. It's people like you. Never forget this. And one more thing, my friends, real good news I've said before, and let's keep it hammered home. Dr. Shiva shows you the actual research that shows 20% of people are change agents. I always describe, they're like you, they wake up every day and they say, how do I change the world? And in my small, humble way, I'm trying to be a catalyst for change too. 30%, you'll never change their mind. So we don't focus on them. Not that they're evil, but, research shows too, 30% of people can't be hypnotized. So these people are largely, hypnotized for corporate media. Sid's agree. But 50%, I repeat, 50% of people are on the fence. Well-meaning, positive people that we can potentially educate to get them on our side. That's 70%. Now, isn't that great news? And the establishment knows that. And that's why I believe, and we'll do a whole speech on Chris Sky one day, I believe they're using... Okay, never mind. I won't say it right now anymore on Chris Sky. Keck doesn't want me to talk about him right now. But back to the police, everybody. Most of our cops, I'm convinced, still do a great job, and that's why we do not want to defund the police. Do you guys agree?
Yes. Do you guys agree? Do it again. Do you
agree that most of the police in our country do a great job? They want to protect our rights, and that very few are captured, and that we do not want to defund the police, unlike Black Lives Matter is all about. Right. Exactly. And it doesn't cost much. It's very little money per police officer cop to ensure that they try to protect our rights, which is super. So don't be calling them Nazis, Stasis, and Gestapo for the most part, like Arthur Pawlowski, though, does. Okay? That's a wrong message, in my opinion. So thank you, everyone. We are winning. The mandates are gone.
50-50 draw.
50-50 draw. You can win a Ferrari.
See Sherilyn.
See Sherilyn.
And Sid. And wins the rally.
We have our Hamilton Freedom Rally, of course, is every Sunday, 12 noon. Right here, City Hall, in the steel town city of Hamilton, Ontario. Beautiful Canada.
Got a Canada flag out.
God keep our land glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for
All right, Jason, just say Sexy Pickles one time.
Sexy Pickles!